Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started here in a minute or two. Just wanted to do a bit of a sound test, so hang with us and we will be presenting shortly. All right. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started here. So if all of our performers could turn on their screens, but stay unmuted. So we are live on YouTube with Verge Theater. So we want to just thank everyone who is watching. This is the intro to acting presence on stage final showcase. We are so proud of these actors and performers. I'm so excited for everyone who is tuning in live at home. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my co-instructor, Bradford, to get us started here.
Thank you, Lauren. Welcome, everyone. And a special thank you to Hillary Parker and Kate Britton for making all of this possible, especially during COVID times. We greatly appreciate it. This class has been wonderful. So I invite you all to ask yourself, for your own selves, those watching and those performers right here, right now, have been questioning, what is it to be present on stage? And that question truly transcends what is it like to be present, period. And so much of us think being present is just being there, but being present is actually being physically embodied in the body and mind that we've been given. And that is both on and off the stage. So the fact that we play real people on stage, it is very important for us to genuinely and honestly get in touch with our own natural impulses that live inside of our body, our life systems. So we want to show you a bit of the process that Lauren and I have taken the students on this, call it semester. And we invite everybody, all of the class, to go down to the floor wherever you'd like to be. And this is called aimless wandering. And aimless wandering is for the actor, not to be the actor, but for the person themselves to see where their impulse is telling them to move, where they're tight, where they need openness, where they need sound, so that no matter where they're coming from in a given day, when it comes time to perform or time to audition from a practical standpoint, they have this very clear exercise that will invigorate and awaken their own bodies. All right. All right, class. This is you time. You have all worked so hard. And here we are in our final class with all the feelings and emotions of performance. I know that for me, that can feel strange in the belly, that can feel tight in the throat. And what do we do with the other parts of the body? How do we begin to free ourselves of one of our most talked about pillars is tension, right? Tension exists, the 2 points in between, in all areas of life, but always in scene work or monologue work, in scripts. Without tension, there would be no drama. And tension lives inside of our body. So again, I want you to explore where your tensions are, all the while always moving. One of my favorite professors, when I was having a hard time getting ready for a show or in a given day, she would say, "Bradford, how much have you moved today?" It's very important. You may think your body doesn't know what it wants, like you're moving around here on the floor, seemingly making arbitrary movements, but my head is not telling me what to do. I'm just moving and shifting and shaping the energy. Now, to be an embodied person, which is necessary for true, authentic performance, we have to understand that it's not just about moving muscles and invigorating parts of our body that haven't been touched, because it doesn't involve that in a given day. You sit at a desk or you don't, but we don't necessarily always pay attention to our toes and our fingernails, all things that are completely important, just like in any sport, which performance is. The follow through, the full extension and retraction in regards to movement is super important. So I invite you, as you choose one body part at the moment, to fully extend on one side. For me, it's my arm, going all the way through, not breaking at the wrist. See the difference? All the way through. And that's creating a tension and a pull of gravity. Now, with the other half of your body, I want you to root whatever it is that you've decided to work with. I want you to feel that tension that energy flow in between the 2 points of those paradoxical terms of moving completely upward and downward. If you think about it, we're just moving through space. And is there an actual difference? Probably debatable. Now, as you continue to move and awaken the parts of your body that you honestly don't want to touch or you do want to touch, it's not just enough to say, hey there, and move them. We are a body of many systems, and our nervous system, being key to performance, is not effective if we don't have oxygen. So breath is a very key point and part of this exercise. So I invite you all to slow down your movements if you haven't already for the moment. Remember that you're moving for you. I want you to take deep breaths. Send that breath all the way up through one body part and all the way down. Let's do one more breath. In on an in count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale audibly on a 5 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right before we finish and transition to Lauren, why I'm going to be the funny one in the room being heard, I beg you all to awaken those 3 zones that we have, our powerhouses of our body, which also speak to different energy and emotional levels. We have that source right here, otherwise known as the violin, where you speak like this. Woo! That's a whole other part of your body. You should feel the reverberation. Resonance is key in performance, and you have to be able to resonate from different parts of the body, as like when you speak from your heart. That zone. There's a difference between saying, I love you, and speaking from your heart. In that zone, saying, I love you. These words are coming from my heart. And last, before we transition, I'd like everybody to feel their sits bones, feel their pelvis, their legs, their strength. And I want you to talk from down below in that zone, otherwise known as the cello. It's your source of power. It's a source of potency. And all these different movements and zones and systems are just part of what make us as our human being. What we are our instrument in performance. Thank you all, and I transition you over to Lauren.
All right, thank you. We're going to transition to our embodiment exercise. So I would just like, beautiful job on aimless wandering, but for our students, let's practice embodiment. Let's say hello to our camera, and let's show the people who are watching how we embody our own characters. So I would just like you to remember that there is a camera. We're warming up for ourselves, but also like this is the time to show the people watching what we've been working so hard on. So I'm going to do this standing up, but any of the students can do this sitting, crawling, rolling, whatever feels good. But here we are, and wherever your space is, or wherever your space is in front of your screen, I'd just like you to start to walk or move, and we're just moving as ourselves here. So right now I'm Lauren, I'm the actor, the performer, and it's as if we have our character in our monologue who is walking along beside us. And slowly we're going to start merging the character and performer into one being. So here we go. We're going to adopt our character's feet. How does our character move with their feet? And remember that with feet comes pacing. So does the pace quicken or does it slow? And here we go. Let's keep on moving. Let's add in the knees. So how does our character utilize their knees? How does this affect the walk? And let's bring it on up to a fun one that we've had exploring in class, which is the hips. So how does our character use their hips to move? So now we are the character from the waist down and ourselves from the waist up. And let's keep building. So we'll bring in the torso, which includes the heart. So the heart is a big one we've been focusing on in the last 8 weeks. Does your character lead from the heart? Is your character's heart sunken in? Is the heart heavy? And performers, feel free to start bringing in lines of text in those 3 different spots that Bradford covered, in the violin, in the viola, and in the cello. And here we go. Let's move to the shoulders, the arms, and the hands. So the only bit of the performer self is the head. And let's bring in the head. So now we have embodied our monologue character from the top of our head all the way down to our tiptoes. And performers, I'd like you to just take a bit of an exploration. How does it feel to walk as this person? How does it feel to sit as this person? Maybe you'd like to pick something up or touch something in your performance space. Keep walking. Good work so far. We're our characters. Let's bring in some lines of text from your monologues. Start to find the character voice. And performers, before we move out of ourselves or out of our character selves, I'd like to invite you to just take a walk or move so that you are in front of your screen. And it's okay if you are not perfectly aligned, like my head is cut off right now, that's okay. But just come to the screen as your character. And I'd like you all right now to just give a little wave as your character. Give a little wave. Awesome. Thank you. And go ahead, take a walk. We're gonna start to now bring ourselves back into the body, so transition out of the character. So bring in your own head. So this is Nisa, Rebecca, Zuzana, and Lou's head. And then let's bring in our own shoulders, our own hands, shaking off the character for the time being. Let's bring in our own heart, our own torso. Performers, keep with sounding here. Let's bring back the self and our own hips. You've got your own hips now. Go ahead, shake out those knees. Shake out the feet. And performers, I always find that this is helpful, but let's just give a little shake in the body so that we've got our character out. We have welcomed them in. Now we are ourselves. And with the last minute or two, just move as you. Move as you, the performer. Do whatever vocalization you need to do to make sure your vocal cords are warmed up to perform. Remember, this is about being present. So the next portion of our showcase will be monologue performance, and know that it's not about getting it perfect. It's not about getting it Oscar worthy or Tony worthy. It is about being present, about being present and embodying our character. All right, performers, let's slowly start to make our way back to our screens. Thank you. And let's together, we've been working with breath a lot in the past 8 weeks. So like Bradford ended on the breath, let's just take some deep breaths together. So here we go. Let's all inhale together. Deep breath in. Let it out. One more just like that. Deep breath in. Let it out. Beautiful. All right, well, I'm going to pass it over to Bradford. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and allowing people to see how we warm up. And Bradford, I'm going to let you take over introducing the monologues.
Unmute. Absolutely. So the work has already been done. We've said this in class. The immense amount of nuance and work that has gone into your monologues, folks, is absolutely phenomenal. So now is the time to have fun, right? And part of the class is not only to be just about what it takes emotionally and energetically to be a good performer. That is definitely what separates phenomenal performers versus, dare I say, mediocre. But that said, you also have to land the role. And so much of that comes from performing a very clean, clear, choice-filled monologue. And so that starts straight from what's called a slate, where the performer introduces themselves. So we're going to go straight into it. And our first performer is Nisa Dickey. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Nisa Dickey, and I'll be performing the role of Lady Bracknell in The Importance of Being Earnest. Mr. Worthing, I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life. As for the particular locality in which the handbag was found, a cloakroom at a railway station could hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognized position in good society. I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible, and to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over. You could hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
All right, wonderful job. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And next, our next performer of the evening is going to be Miss Rebecca McNeil. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Rebecca McNeil, and I'll be performing the role of Mary from Low Level Panic. Maybe if I'd been wearing trousers, it wouldn't have happened. I was only wearing a skirt because I'd just come home from work, and it's the kind of place where they like to wear a skirt. That or smart trousers. Well, I haven't got any smart trousers, so I have to wear a skirt. You're better off on the bike in trousers. I know, it's obvious. Anyway, I wasn't even on a bike. I was going to. Would it have made a difference if I'd been getting into a car in a skirt? I could have worn a pair of jeans and folded up my skirt, but then it'd been all squashed. Or I could have come to work cycling wearing a skirt and changed into trousers to go home. Or I could have walked to work and got a taxi home, and I could have worn whatever I liked. That I'd still have been there on the edge of the road at midnight, about to get on my bicycle or in a car or just waiting for a taxi. I'd have still have been there.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Beautiful work. Our next performer will be Zuzana Gideon.
Hi, my name is Zuzana Gideon, and I will be performing the role of Lady Bracknell from Importance of Being Earnest. Mr. Worthing, I confess, I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate, the bread in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me display contempt for ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that movement led to. As for particular locality where the handbag was found, a cloakroom at the railway station might serve to conceal social indiscretion. Has probably indeed been used for that purpose before now, but it could hardly be regarded as an assured basis for recognized position in good society. I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible and to produce, at any rate, one parent of either sex before the season's quite over. You can hardly imagine that Lord Waiter would dream of allowing his only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and to form an alliance. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you so much, Zuzana. Much, much appreciated. Next performer will be Lou Creech.
Hi, my name is Lou Creech. I will be performing the role of Julie from East Haddam. Hi, Julie. This is my town. It's unique. You'll see, it's uniquely unique in its uniqueness, which is not to say it is all I want it to be. I meant to move away for college, but instead I commuted, and then I got my own place, and then I got a job here, so I teach. I teach English over at the high school, mostly freshmen. Oh, it's okay. I might not even be very good at it. No one notices. Don't tell. I'm looking for something, I'm not really sure, love, or maybe just like one good verbal exchange every day. Is that weird? This town is pretty weird. No, really, you'll see. I hope you'll be able to handle it. It might be a little tricky at first, but I'm glad you're here. Oh, don't pity me for my little life, please. You don't have everything, do you? Oh, oh, do you? Right? No one does.
Thank you so much. I'd invite all of our performers to turn on their screens. Since we have been rehearsing on Zoom, we have developed this way to clap for one another. So this is the American Sign Language for clapping. So we're giving a big round of applause to everyone who was vulnerable tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your work. Next, we are going to do what Bradford and I have been calling our Zoom bow, which is presenting a poem called The Messenger by Mary Oliver. We had been discussing what is the way to bow over Zoom and having some difficulty with wanting it to be authentic and meaningful, and something a little more than just a bow. And that's when Bradford and I had revisited this gorgeous poem by Mary Oliver, and we just felt it really spoke to this time. It spoke to these magnificent performers, and it's a poem that, at least for me, really just touches my heart. So with that, I will pass it off to our beautiful performers to read The Messenger by Mary Oliver.
My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Here the quickening yeast, there the blue plums, here the clam deep in the speckled sand.
Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect? Let me keep on my mind what matters, which is my work.
Which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. The phoebe, the delphinium, the sheep in the pasture, and the pasture, which is mostly rejoicing since all the ingredients are there.
Which is gratitude, to be given a mind and a heart and these body clothes, a mouth with which to give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren, to the sleepy dug-up clam, telling them all over and over how it is that we live forever.
Thank you all so
Well
much.
done, everyone. Well done. Lauren.
We're just so proud of you all, and I just want to thank these 4 amazing performers for being vulnerable, for being present, and for just really opening up their hearts to both Bradford and myself and to each other. Bradford and I were debating on how an ensemble would work over Zoom when we're in multiple different states. We are juggling different experiences, different life experiences, different acting experiences. And I just am so proud that we were able to create a community through a screen at this time. So thank you so much. And Bradford, I'll pass it to you.
You know, in listening to you all tonight, and being a part of this process from day one with all of you, there have been many emotions in our check-in, some complete joy, some complete sadness, some numbness. And so why take this class? Why take a presence on stage class right now during a time where there is unrest in our world? Well, I say bravo to all of you to be willing to go deep into the emotional body, into your emotional mind, where things filter and infiltrate, and being willing to join us as an ensemble, as one group, and to be able to transcend all of those emotions, the quote, good ones and bad ones, into really beautiful, nuanced work. Because the plays that you have all chosen monologues from, whether they were written in 1600 or will be written in 2070, emotion, human emotion, and the way we hide from them or do the opposite and say things that we don't necessarily feel. You all jumped into this bandwagon with this plethora of emotions in a very difficult time and put your hearts and your minds out there. And I just want to say you are all truly professionals. You've all grown so much. And thank you so much for doing this and for doing it now. All right.
Gorgeous. Beautiful. Well, with that, we just want to say thank you to our performers. Thank you to our Verge family for allowing us to do this class and to live stream. For everybody who's watching, please support Verge Theater in any way you can. They are amazing, talented, wholehearted, good people who do amazing work. So stay tuned for Verge, a lot of exciting things coming up. And let's all just give a final round of applause to our performers. Excellent work. And thank you to everyone who is tuning in. And